Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to Papaya Rhythms and Hustles, where we're gonna be talking a lot about the independent music scene, how to navigate this crazy industry. I'm your host, Gian Berselli. Welcome. Make yourself at home. This podcast is for you. All right, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'm actually really excited because not only we have someone very engaged in the community, I'm very intrigued to hear and learn and ask about the Jeff Bezos song because I was listening to this all morning. Dude, Mitch Rocket, or how should I call you? What's the best way to call you?
That's my name.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about your story, like where you're coming from and your parents. I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in San Francisco. Really, the way I got into music was through my family. My parents were both musicians. They actually met at SF State back in the 70s in a music class. It was my mom's one physical therapy class she was doing.
Oh, she went to cool.
Yeah, she's a physical therapist.
Yeah.
But she, played keyboards and guitar in a rock and roll band.
Yeah. And your dad was in music school, or?
He was there for broadcasting. He's a recording engineer.
Major, a Becca.
Yeah.
My wife
so
did
they
the
didn't
broadcast
have
major
a way.
as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Your wife did a broadcast major. That's cool.
Yeah.
He was looking for a way to do music, to do engineering, audio engineering, and that didn't exist as a degree back then. So he studied electrical engineering at Berkeley for a while. That wasn't quite it. And then he went to SF State and did broadcasting. That's where he finished out. But he's been a recording engineer his whole life. He did, rock, singer-songwriter, Latin jazz music throughout. And part of that was that he had a home studio. So when I was growing up, I was hearing all the sounds of the musicians that he was recording coming from upstairs. So that really influenced me and got me interested in music. And both my parents were definitely like, you need to take lessons. Let's get you started on this stuff.
That's awesome. What are some of the early influences that you're listening at that time? Like mostly rock, indie rock, like what? Because I hear a lot of rock influence, but do you also have some Latin, as you said, some jazz, of course. What are some names that influenced you back at that time?
Yeah, so the first two CDs that I ever had for myself, actually, I guess I gotta put a little footnote, is that the first kind of music I got into was actually comedy music, because I had a friend who was super into that in middle school. It got me into Weird Al and Alan Sherman and Tony Goldmark and people like that.
Yeah.
But I eventually got to a point where I was listening to also serious music, probably around 13 or so.
Yeah.
And the first artist that really blew my mind and made me really want to tap into music in a more deep way was Andrew Bird.
Oh, wow.
I heard his song Skin Is My, and I was just totally blown away by it. It sounded like nothing else I had heard.
Yeah.
Had the plucked violin and the kind of ethereal ambiance, but also with the rock and guitars.
Super
I was just hooked by that.
What was your first instrument?
My first instrument is actually the recorder.
Oh, no
you know how
way.
I don't know if you know this, but in here in the States, they teach you recorder in third grade often.
Yeah.
It's a really cheap, cheesy instrument.
Yeah.
You can play it well. It's possible, but
yeah. I remember one of the first songs. Mine was, I think I started on the piano because my dad played, but the first one I learned was also to record it. And
cool.
The first song was the Titanic. The theme
my heart
song.
will go on. That's awesome.
That's super cool, dude. So growing up in San Francisco, I am assuming that has a lot to do with your political, influence, right? I can tell you're a super political guy. I love it. I was a lot more involved back in my college years, I would say, but I love everything you're bringing. I think, especially nowadays, we definitely need some sort of, the role that music did back then. I feel like it's not as much playing anymore these days, which is the bothering part, the political part. Let's bring stuff up. I feel like Green Day was doing this here in Berkeley back in the day, kind of bringing some of that stuff, and I'm not seeing that much anymore. I mean, I am disconnected from what the youth is hearing. I gotta admit that. So maybe I'm a little bit alienated, and I know hip hop and rap is definitely talking about some of those issues, but in rock especially, I'm not seeing that much anymore. So tell me a little bit about that political background, that political influence. What are some of those burning desires, right? That you have, that you wanted to be heard.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think really the locus of political music now is definitely hip hop and rap. That's where it's really happening.
Yeah.
but I think it should be happening in rock too. It is. There are bands doing it. I just don't think it reaches that level of mainstream success. Like I can think of tons of bands, especially around here in the Bay Area, that are doing really political music.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like, I know it's definitely like more hardcore punk bands that it's absolutely there. But even in like, you know, much more, I guess, accessible music, like Super Cassette's a good example. They're like very Marxist, but it's power pop. Great band. I think you had Alvy on your show before. Alvy definitely talks about class. He definitely talks about like that's real true. Stuff, you know?
Yeah. Which I really miss it, you know? Like, I feel like that's part of, you know, the music I grew up as well, especially the ones in Brazil. Brazilian music, it's always been very political. I think maybe the last few years, not as much anymore, but and what are some of these influences? Like any specific education on that part, or you think is just like a result of being a Bay Area kid and just like what and some of those desires? I want to hear a little bit more about, you know, I definitely want to get into the, what's the name of again, the Dirty and Wrong. I really want to dissect that song.
Can we swear on this program? Because
what was that?
Are you cool with swearing on this program?
Absolutely. Yeah,
all right, great. So it's Dirty and Wrong, Fuck You, Jeff Bezos is the name of the
song. But tell me a little bit about those backgrounds. Like what are some of the influences that got you to this point? And, you know, let's talk a little bit about more of the message that you want to come across.
Yeah. So once again, I was really raised with it. Like my parents took me to one of the marches downtown San Francisco against the Iraq War when Bush was trying to go in there.
Yeah.
I remember we were carrying a sign that actually had a quote from Foundation, you know, those books that said, violence is the last refuge of the incompetent.
Wow.
Got to work that one in somewhere. But so, I definitely got it from my family, but I also got it from my peers, you know. It's just kind of the stew that I've been in. And I got really involved in politics, especially in college. I did some like labor activism, trying to get better wages for the dining workers and for the other workers on campus. I've just always been like, those are the two big things I'm interested in life, music and politics. So
love it.
It makes sense they would eventually come together.
Yeah, I love it. And again, I definitely feel like, you know, we're craving that, you know, a lot. That's awesome. I mean, I feel like being from Brazil and moving here, kind of like not knowing a lot of what I was putting. I mean, of course, I knew it was the Bay Area and San Francisco and everything, you know, that San Francisco was known for. But I feel like the more I know people that were raised around here, there's always that very strong political vibe. I mean, I'm in Berkeley right now. Here, it's like even more prominent, you know, and totally. It's interesting. I mean, I don't really feel like this is the place for us to get in there, but I wonder partially why in the United States the political activism, it for me feels like, being from Latin America, it always feels a little bit more I don't want to say numbed out, but it feels like it happens more in pockets rather than, I feel like, you know, the sentiment of the masses are, I don't know, I feel like in Latin America it's a little bit more let's just say boils up a little bit more. So I don't know. Here I experience more in pockets type of scenario. I've always been a really big criticizer of the system of education here. I feel like it doesn't promote that much critical thinking, but I didn't go through, you know, the entire life of education here. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I would love to hear your stance on that. We could go in a whole, like, it could be a whole other podcast too.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I mean, we're missing some of that spirit. I did live in Latin America for a while. I lived in Ecuador for a year.
Cool. Nice.
For a year and then 6 months another time.
Cool.
And definitely there was like a more of a, like, people were willing to.
Yeah.
I remember my host dad asked me, "You guys don't have healthcare in your country?
Oh my God.
Why don't you rise up? Why aren't you in the streets?" You know?
Don't even get me
like, I don't know. I don't know why not.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, exactly. We can get into it, but that's part of what I'm trying to do with my music, is I want to I want to talk about the real issues. Like I want to talk about real stuff. And that's real to me. Like, I think we have to talk about politics affects all of our lives, even if we choose to try and be apolitical.
Absolutely,
it's still affecting us. So it's worth talking about. I used to
consider myself someone apolitical until I got into college. I've always been, you know, I it's so funny. I have this pretty much one of my best friends. He's my soul brother. He's super political. He's like probably the most political person. Now he's growing older. I think he's dimming down a little bit. But I always saw us which like John Lennon versus George Harrison type of style, because I always been like more spirituality, like love everyone, understand everything.
Sitar in the back there.
I know, exactly. And then as soon as I got into college, I realized, hey, there's no such thing as apoliticalness. Like you can try to be, like understand a lot of the sides, but politics is everywhere, right? So I really appreciate that, dude. I really do. Which is kind of bringing me to let's just jump into it, because I really want this podcast, as we evolve, to get bigger and just go deeper into a lot of stuff. But since we're starting, let's kind of, just tease a few subjects. Maybe we'll have you another time. I'll love that. And we can just go deeper and geek out on some of this stuff. But tell me about now. Okay, let's go about, I really want to hear what was the thought process of Dirty and Wrong. Especially being in the Bay Area, right? Tech versus society, gentrification, all this stuff that we're hearing and seeing here. I mean, I've experienced this a little bit. I've been in the Bay Area for 12 years. And even me, I saw people losing their homes because the landlord was increasing like 200% or something like that. Like, it was ridiculous, right? So, let's just talk a little bit about the inspiration there behind that song.
Yeah, so actually... I think we talked about Andrew Bird a little bit earlier. Yeah. Andrew Bird was like the first artist I got really into way back in middle school. The Dirty and Wrong is actually kind of like almost a response song to one of his songs, or his album, My Finest Work Yet. I like that album a lot, but some of the political messages in it I felt were so oblique that you couldn't even like grab onto them. Like, to me, it wasn't like, I wanted something a little more rabble-rousing. So I was like, what if I just wrote the like crudest, like simplest, most rabble-rousing song possible? And that was my thought process with Dirty and Wrong. Fuck you, Jeff Bezos. I was like, let's just be really like crude. Let's be direct. Let's not. The lyrics are actually kind of saying that even in the first verse. It's like, let's keep this simple.
Yeah.
And obviously, I like to write songs that are a bit more nuanced politically too. If you look at Venture Cowboys, that's like approaches it from a much more poetic and like a little more sophisticated analysis angle. But you got to have songs that also just like punch forward, like
raw.
Get people singing along too. That are simple enough that like, there are people in this world that are doing terrible things to our planet, terrible things to our people. I mean, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, it's hard to argue about those guys. They're doing terrible things to all of us, and they could solve all these problems with their wealth. They're not doing it. They're hoarding wealth and taking wealth from their workers.
And wanting to get more power, which this is something that doesn't really like. I understand a lot of the other things. I mean, I wouldn't say understand, but one thing that just doesn't fit in my mind is like, dude, when is it enough?
Right. You have to have a sense of enough.
Like you cannot even spend that money in like 4 lifetimes or even more. Like, why more? Like, are you dead wounded of a child that you need that much of approval?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about this fucking. Oh, I guess I'm cussing.
We're allowed to say it, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, that's how I feel about these guys. Like, I mean, Musk, in a way, I get it, but like, oh my God, dude, it's just like, when is it enough? It's just like an obsession for power. I don't know if you saw, there was like I'm a gamer too, so I love to play video games. And I saw this whole scandal that he was pretending to be one of the best players on, I think, Pass of Exile. And like,
Diablo.
he was clearly, was it Diablo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was clearly hiring someone to play for him.
Yeah, he was
like,
cheating.
Dude, come on. Like, really? Right. Like people would already like you if you just say, hey, I play this and I'm an average player, right? No, he had to be the best and lie about it. Dude. Anyway.
That is funny.
Yeah. But anyway, I love that song. I feel like the reception has been really good. I saw I love that you posted on your Instagram that, funny enough, the one that you're kind of cussing about the CEO is the song that Spotify is kind of rewarding you the most as well.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I guess it's the benefit of algorithms sometimes, is that if there's no human looking at it, like this was, for context for those who didn't see that post, basically this was one of the first songs that actually like hit Spotify's like algorithm playlists and like started being recommended to people all over the country. Yeah. It's like, this is a song that literally says, fuck you, Daniel Ek, in the lyrics. And this is what Spotify chooses. Like, it's so arbitrary.
Yeah.
I mean, it just like, it underscores some of the nature of the music industry too, that it is kind of arbitrary now with all these like algorithms and virality and all that. Yeah. Like, what hits is sometimes a coin flip. Like, why this song? Why not this song?
And sometimes it's about like kind of hitting those raw emotions as well. That's why the algorithm on Facebook is all about the rage, the racism is like you get engagement, right? Like, dude, I kind of want to ask you something about like, so one of the things, so doing a startup, right, like that I've been in touch with a lot of other founders and, VCs and all that stuff, right? But I've heard so many other founders saying, oh, like creator economy and like we're going to do this for the creators, the influencers and blah, blah, blah. And I always ask them the questions like, so who are these people working for? The creators and this influencers? Oh, they work from themselves and have all this freedom. Like, that's where you're getting your whole business wrong. They don't work from themselves. They work for the algorithm. They work for YouTube. They work for Instagram. Right? Because the business model is engagement generates, people there that sells in any way and so on and so forth. Right? So let's get a little bit more, I want to hear some of your thoughts on how can technology, since we are having this big, tech giants and all these people doing, all of the things that we're despising in a way. And do you see a way that technology can play a role here to help out people? Is there some wiggle room here?
Totally. Yeah. There's so much potential for technology. I mean, we were talking, I think, I can't remember which part we hit record for or not, but like technology has made it so much easier to record music. Yeah. Like with this little guy, I can record whatever I need to record.
Yeah.
That didn't exist 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It also makes it easier to distribute music. You can just sign up for a subscription of any of these different distributors and just get your music all over the streaming services. You don't have to print CDs. You can put it on Bandcamp. And that's all basically, well, it's not totally free for the distributors, but it's not expensive.
Yeah.
So you have this kind of democratizing effect. And you can look at that in other technologies like, Twitter played this huge good role in like the Green Revolution in Iran. Like there's possibility for technology to connect people and make it easier to create, make it easier to build communities together. It's totally possible. Unfortunately, the middlemen aren't really interested in that. The big tech companies want you to make money off your attention. They don't want you to be connected with other people and forming real connections that are offline because that would take you off of their platform. And that's how they make their money. So the money is corrupting it for sure. But I think it's possible for technology to be good, to create good things. And in music, like as I understand it, Papaya is like about connecting musicians, finding someone for your band, putting together shows. That stuff is hard. It's hard work. It's like a lot of the admin aspect of music that, you have to do. But it can take a lot of time away from just the music part. So if your platform can help that stuff be easier and make people able to find other musicians in their community, totally.
Yeah, the goal always been to not tackle creation, not tackle consumption. We don't want to tackle any of those parts. We want to tackle the whole valley in between, which is the music business. Is like, what do you do after you create, all the way until people hear your music, right? Like, there's a whole valley of business, setting up like a band, like understanding how you can actually allocate your money in a way that can increase the return on investment of that money. Like a lot of artists don't have the idea of like how to kind of direct that energy and that attention, right? And I feel like with the rise of AI, one of the things that we could do with large language model is digest data, right? One of the biggest lessons I had in my college back in Brazil, I think it was the first class, she said that the secret of the internet is filters. It's curated information. And I really treasure that because it's the flow of information is just huge. It's the first time in history that we have, not the few distributing to the many, but now the many can also distribute back a little bit more. I mean, there's all this sort of control, but with that comes this backlash, which is you have just this overload of information, right? So how can you filter that and start helping artists in a way that we can curate that and connect people and do the admin stuff, find the gigs, get paid, scroll the money, help them with insurance, whatever it is, right, that we can do. So yeah, man. And how are you particularly navigating that whole game, right? Like let me understand. I mean, let me step back because once I asked this question, there is a pre-assumption that every artist wants to just grow and get big and get famous, and that's not the case for a lot of people. Some people are just happy to make their music and show their art, and not everything has to become a product or productified, right? So what is the goal of your music that you're doing right now, the goal with your band? And if so, how you're navigating this whole creator economy? Having to post on Instagram, have to be active there, have to be the viral, blah, 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 navigate the algorithm. So how you guys are navigating that specifically?
Yeah, I mean, so the way I look at it is I don't look at it as like the goal is money. I look at it as the goal is we're making music. We want people to hear that music. Like that's that's the end goal. So obviously it's incredibly hard to make money music, and there's ways to do it. You can be in a wedding band, you can do covers. But really, this is about making original music that hopefully resonates with people and getting it to the people who it might resonate with. That's how I think about it.
Cool.
And also part of that I think is, I also think of it as like being a member of the community in the Bay Area. Like I try and give more than I take from it. You know, if I try to go to at least 3 shows for every show I play. I'm a radio DJ. I have a show that's on KXSF. It's every Sunday, 3 to 5. I play all local music. And that first hour, actually, we usually have live bands on the radio, mostly local bands, because that's who's around. That gives them an opportunity to get their music out to more people. And also gives me an opportunity to meet all these cool bands and hear this great music. So, you know, it's not totally altruistic. I also like benefit from just hearing cool stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've been doing for a lot of years a playlist. It's called the San Francisco Bay Area Sounds. I have it on like Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Tidal. And it has just all kinds of local music that's being released in the Bay Area. And a little bit beyond. I include Santa Cruz, which I know people are controversial whether it's in the Bay Area or not. But, you know, for musical purposes, I include it. But I've been doing that San Francisco Bay Area Sounds playlist for, I think it's, almost 7 years now.
Wow.
And I think one of the things about creating a musical scene is that people have to listen to each other inside of the scene. Otherwise, we're all just becoming clones of like bands from other parts of the world, which it's cool to have influences from there. But I think when a city becomes iconic for its music, it's because people are listening to each other. They're forming a community. They're influenced by each other. And that's how you get things like, we used to have something called the San Francisco Sound, right? That's when San Francisco got put on the map musically. I think right now we're kind of like seen as like secondary to like Seattle or like to LA. And bands often feel that pressure to move to Seattle or LA to make it. Mostly LA, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think we have a lot of really, really cool music right here in the Bay. And if we just look around, we can find a lot of really interesting things that can bring us a lot of happiness, bring us a lot of community. So I try to promote that everywhere I can. I try to live that myself. And that's its own goal, you know, even apart from like promoting music. Like obviously I'd love if people listen to my music too, but I don't necessarily expect that from everybody. Mm-hmm. I understand everyone has only a certain number of hours in the day. Especially I get this because I try and listen to all the music that's coming out in the Bay Area, and it's just impossible. Like there's so much just from this one little area that I can't keep up with it all. And I like maybe half, even 3/4 of the music I listen to is from the Bay these days. And that's still not enough time to like sift through it all. So you catch what you can, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You gravitate towards what you gravitate towards. In that spirit, recently, the thing I've been enjoying especially is Miss Hits, is this band from San Jose. It's like a jazz R&B kind of band. Cool. They put out an EP recently, Miss Hits, self-titled. That is incredible. So good.
Miss Hits?
So that's my recommendation for the day.
Let me hear it. Miss Hits. Cool. I think it was on your playlist.
It definitely is. I think it's up there somewhere near the top right now.
Super cool. That's awesome. And let me kind of ask you a little bit, kind of just pop into my mind now. How are you connecting with these people? Because as we already talked, the goal of Papaya is it's to connect. I know it's, one more people say, we're going to connect, but I understand the power of data. I also understand that technology is flawed and, not necessarily going to make the best connections all the time. But one thing I know for sure, that information is a privilege. And if we can expose information to people and to artists, help them make decisions for themselves, that is already a lot of the goal and the load that we're running to do here. So how are you getting to know these people, getting connected? I mean, you've been in the scene for a while, but like, tell me a little bit about the process, because I always stress this to the listener that, networking is key. It really is. And sometimes, unfortunately, not everyone has access to the same networking that, other musicians have. I mean, I had to move all the way from Brazil in order to try to get a better or a different shot. Maybe I was being a little bit romantic. I know there's definitely space in Brazil to do music and live there, but it's a lot of people do this. They move abroad and they move to whatever, LA and Seattle or Nashville or whatever it is, right? To get access at the end of the day to the network. That's honestly what you're doing, right? Is get access to the network. So how do you navigate that networking in the music industry? How does artists come to you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the main two ways, it's going to live shows and it's Instagram. So when you talk about platforms, like, I don't especially like Instagram as a platform. I don't think it's actually that good for music. It's like, there's not a very good events feature. We just like post flyers as pictures, which is like the least efficient way to do it. But for some reason, that's where people are. So, that's how it happens. So in terms, I would love to use a different service that wasn't Instagram, wasn't owned by Mark Zuckerberg,
We're trying.
So I appreciate you trying to do that for sure.
Yeah.
But for now, that's the way it is. Like, especially I started really getting involved in the music scene more deeply, really during COVID. I was living in San Jose before that. And I was actually a lot more involved in like activism and like organizing. That became impossible to do because I couldn't, be knocking on people's doors during COVID. No one wants that. So I ended up focusing more in, and I recorded this album, Petting Zoo, over the course of the pandemic. I learned how to home record.
Is it inspired by the Beach Boys at all, or no?
No, it's actually, the cover came first in a way. A friend of mine had made had made a drawing kind of like making fun of me, where like playing a guitar with like a tear in my eye and then like a petting zoo of animals. It's like a rhino and like a flying pig and some other stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
So I was like, oh, that's a good album cover. I'll use that eventually. And actually, the version you see on various platforms now is actually the like version 2, like a little bit more. I had another artist do like a redux of it, looked a little cleaner instead of the one that was like at that point, 5 years old and kind of the paper kind of crinkled and all that. Anyway, Petting Zoo, that was the first album. But that was really just me. And so I was only connecting with people then over the internet. And one of the ways I found that was Instagram. I had started I only made an Instagram maybe in 2018 or so. Because I realized that was where people were posting their show flyers. That's how I'd find out about shows and get connected to the music community. So there were a lot of people I met over the pandemic just like by following them and seeing they were doing a cool thing on Instagram or whatever. And it's been funny over the last like 5 years since vaccines, meeting those people in person, like, oh, we follow each other on Instagram for like 5 years, and here we are finally meeting in person. So, online connection can happen. There's a possibility for it. I think a lot of people have that experience too of like, there's so many people out in the Bay Area, but the chances that you're going to be at any given show might be kind of low. So it's good to have these digital networks too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm with you. Instagram and social media for me it just drains my energy. It's just such a hassle, right? So, I mean, part of the reason as well, I kind of decided to start this. I mean, I don't know if we're going to have feeds or posting. Mm-hmm. I'm really against that at this stage, but
please no feeds. That's feeds.
Yeah.
I feel like the feed is the like worst possible thing that has been invented in social media. Yeah. It used to be back in the day that I had like a little extension in my browser. You could just kill the feed in Facebook. And it was a great tool then, you just have messages and you have your profile and you have your friends, you can click on their profile. If you take out the feed, it's actually a really good product. Well, so you can't just mindlessly scroll. Then you actually just use it as a tool and like use it for what you want to. And for years I was able to do that with Instagram because I wasn't like plugged into it that much. I was new to it. But I found over the years that it gets harder and harder to use that because they find a way in, those bastards. They're like, oh, you like to look at cute animal pictures? Here's a million borzois. And like, I love looking at borzois, but like, should I spend all my time doing that? No.
I don't even like, I mean, I can see like the sucking energy, right? As soon as you're going there, here, because mine is all animals as well. That's my entire feed is just animals. And like, I was like, nope, get out of here, dark force.
Right. And I think the really dark force when it comes to music is like jealousy. Like it breeds jealousy. Like they've done studies in this and like on teen girls where like having Instagram makes you more prone to like feelings of low self-worth. even like feelings of suicide. So Instagram is built to make you jealous of other people. So it's really important and hard to resist that when you're on there. You don't want to just be jealous of other band's success. You want to be celebrating your friend's success. Like, but that's not the way it feels a lot of time on the platform. Because it's that thing where everyone is showing their like best self. It's like you're comparing your inside feeling to their outside presentation, and it feels like there's a disconnect.
Yeah,
I don't like.
Absolutely.
I don't judge anyone for doing that. I think it's just fine. But like the platform itself and the nature of the feed can create that disconnect between people.
They feed out of those raw emotions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the sake of time, because again, we're starting podcasts, and I feel like a lot of people don't listen that much in the beginning. Why don't you tell people just really quickly how to get in touch with you, some of the next projects you're doing. I would love to get in touch with you, particularly, especially because I think I love to find a way to feed the community more opportunities. So tell us a little bit about next steps for your career and how to get in touch with you and the best ways to just maybe get together.
So I think probably the best way to start is just go to mitchrocket.com. It has all the links to everything there. You can listen to the music. We've got a mailing list. You can find the various social media stuff there. Our social media is mostly at Mitch Rocket or at MitchRocketSF. I also have a show called Mitch's Brew that's on KXSF. It's every Sunday, 3 to 5. I have like Mitch's Brew Instagram too. It's MITCHESBREW, spelled like the Miles Davis album. I mean, as much as I hate all the like social media and like Spotify, etc., like it helps us to follow us on that. So please do that and listen to the music. I mean, we have a new EP out that's I think is the best work we've ever done. It's called Live at the Retro Future Review. It was recorded actually at the band shell in Golden Gate Park. We recorded it live at a show that I put on last year.
These are the Canva videos I have here. That's cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I think our best work. Like, and you can hear the band live, but like mixed really cleanly, so you can really get into it. We talked about Dirty and Wrong, Fuck You, Jeff Bezos. Actually, Worry Less is actually a song that's kind of about what we were talking about like hungry algorithms. There's a line in there, when the vampire wears the crown. That's about like a lot of the ways things are extractive in the current world. So tie in there. Yeah.
Cool.
We make music, so go listen to it.
Any specific, filters people might want to think about before sending stuff or get in touch? Because I know a lot of people are probably going to want to, like get in touch and, maybe be a part of the show or something like that. Any specifics that you're looking for, or just send it over? You listen.
Cool. Send me music, like especially if you're in the Bay Area. I mean, I listen to stuff that's not in the Bay Area too, but send me your music. I'm always trying to listen to new stuff. Cool. No guarantees that I put it any certain place, but I'm always happy to listen. I love music. Cool. That's why I'm in this.
Cool. Mitch, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here first, and second, of course, thank you for all the work you're doing. And I think your holistic vision of community and politics and the work that you're doing really touched me when we got in touch. I was like, wow, this guy is going to be super cool to have on the podcast. So it is really aligned to everything that we're trying to do as well. So super, super pleasure to have you here. We'd love to be in touch. And maybe we can go have another podcast over a beer or tea or whatever, and just like go deeper, like have a 3-hour where we're just gonna go crazy and talk about all the other stuff. That'd be super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great talking to you. Great getting to know you.
Cool.
Yeah, this is fun.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.